G'day and welcome to the Breaking Through podcast, where we interview acts current and emerging. This week on the pod we have arguably one of the biggest bands in Australia right now. We are incredibly lucky to have them on. It's Spacey Jane. Caleb chats to us about Tripple J top 100 successes and what they need to get number one, feelings towards an old favourite, and their new song Hardlight. We've never had a band on that we've made a meme about. And this is the first one, and it's Caleb from Spacey Jane. It's a huge pod for us, but yes, we made a meme about you guys, and you know those, like, I'm not very good at Photoshop or anything, but you know those, like, just Twitter, like, people put Twitter quotes on Instagram or whatever. We did that about you guys. Would you like to know the meme?
Definitely. Did you tweet the tweet? Did you make the tweet in the first place, or did you find someone else's tweet?
We made the tweet, but, like, we don't like Twitter. So what we do is, like, we just put it up there, screenshot it, delete it, and then just And then
that's great. I'm I have a ghost Twitter user. I use it to look at stuff.
Yeah, neither do I. I know I've got. Here we go. It's a bit of a long one, but you can guess it was one of our popular ones. Look, I'm not saying I found the cure to happiness, but I've never been sad listening to Good For You by Spacey Jane, so take that as you will.
Dude, I've seen that.
That was us.
That's you. Oh, that's so nice. It's barely even a meme. It's just like a compliment, you know?
I know, but we've done a lot. Like, that's just how we like to do most of our memes, and it takes me 2 minutes at 2 a.m. in the morning. Now, what we like to do on the pod is do a bit of an icebreaker at the start, so you know we can get a bit of a gauge on you. Right?
Take me back to university days.
If you could only see one act live for the rest of your life, who would it be?
That's a really hard question because there's so many bands that I haven't been able to see live that I really want to see.
Okay, let's just go.
You know what I mean?
Let's just go. Who you've seen? Mm-hmm. Just take it from there.
I would say from who I've seen, I'd say the Strokes. I reckon.
Dude, that's a fucking incredible answer.
I watched them at Splendor in 2016.
I was literally just about to say that. I was there too, and I was very keen to see them that year, and I had heard that they weren't great live. So you know when you go into a gig with expectations, and you're just like, oh, please, don't be real. And they were incredible. So I'm going to take that answer, and that was really good. Now I want to get into our first song. It's my first song. How I got into you guys. It's Feeding the Family. I was reading a lot of articles and that type of stuff to do the right research, and you know when someone isn't an actual fan of you guys when they're like, oh yeah, they only got their big break in 2020, blah blah. I was hurt. I was hurt because that's absolute bullshit.
You're wrong.
That is not fucking right. And you know, this one's been out for ages.
Yep.
Fans love this one, been around for a while. How do you reflect on this track after so many years?
There's a mix of feelings about it. I mean, you know, I'm grateful for it. It's funny when you put a song out, you sort of lose that agency or sort of ownership you have around it. And when it does well, like Feeding the Family did, and you know, especially in those early days for us, it's it's a way that people engage with the music through one moment, through one song. So I'm really grateful for it in that sense. And I think it's got some really amazing parts to it. I mean, Ashton's riff is incredible, and I really like lots of elements of it. You know, if I had my time again, I think we would have made it shorter and less like instrumental breaks. And I wouldn't have repeated that verse that I sing twice. That used to be a thing I did. I was like, I don't need more words. So there's those elements to it. I'm like, damn, I wish, because it means a lot to me, that song. I wish there were parts of it that we made better. But also, I like it and I love playing it. Strangely enough, it comes in and out of love, as all songs do, I think, for an artist. But the last sort of year, I've really enjoyed playing it. It's really nice to have something that feels quite old to us to have it still engage with people. It's cool.
That's a really interesting answer, because we've had we've had a lot of big bands on over the past 6 months, and it's either people love their first break song, or we've had other
Mhm.
bands that are like just see it as a chore. And
Mm.
that's really cool that you still love it and you love playing it. That's cool. I have, obviously you've got songs, albums, that type of stuff coming out, which is really great. But I had a bit of an ulterior motive to get you guys on, well, to get you on today.
Okay. Okay.
I feel guilty. I feel really guilty, because you guys have come second and third in the Triple
Mhm.
J Top 100. And I've kind of been wrapping my brain about this one, and there's literally no other reason why you guys haven't come first besides me, because
You haven't voted for us?
oh mate, I've definitely
Oh,
voted
well,
for you, but
what more can you do?
I know, but I've guessed the last six top, like I've guessed the last six number ones in a row. Never got it wrong.
No shit. That's really impressive.
I know, right? And everyone around me,
Sportsbet should hire you.
fuck, dude. I know, right? But like they do it super early, and I'm sorry, I'm super sorry, but like when you got second and third, I was like, I'm sorry, but I'm
You
with.
knew.
I just didn't think that you guys were going to win that year, and
Did you guess Elephant, the Wiggles cover?
I did, yes.
Wow. I didn't see that coming. I mean, I thought it'd be high, but that was.
And it's funny because I made like a meme about it as well. I was like,
Hmm.
our podcast vote, we voted for one song, like our podcast team, just as a meme, and it was that
Hmm.
song, but it won. Um,
Got it over the line.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was that one
Yeah,
vote. So I'm super sorry. It's
that's
me.
fine.
It's me, and I'm sorry that I haven't put you guys as number one, and it's me.
It's okay. You're just predicting the truth. You
I can't
can't
help
lie
what
in
I
your
can't help
prediction.
what I feel. I cannot help what I feel.
I
Um,
understand.
but what's it gonna take for you guys to get number one? Do you reckon? What do you think is that? So it feels like
Yeah.
you're kind of playing top 10 bingo. To be fair, like you're just crossing off the numbers,
That's it.
and you're just gonna go through the 10. But what's it gonna take you guys to get number one? You reckon?
Maybe we just have to go from 4 to 10 first, and then we'll cycle back and do one. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's like songs are so. It's like labels tear their hair out, and bands, and no one knows what's going to necessarily do well. You can have a good idea about it, and it starts the very very beginning when you're writing a song. It's like, does this have a good enough thing to take it to the next step where we maybe workshop it as a band, and then it's like, do we record that? And I don't know. It's a mystery. Whether or not some people fall in love with a song is like a roulette, a game of roulette for sure, and you just sort of hope for the best. But 2 and 3, I'm like so happy with that. I could never be mad about those results, and like if we never get higher, then it's like it's whatever.
Mate, come on, you're gonna get number one, and I'll send you boys, I'll send you guys a message when I think you're gonna get it, and that's when you know you're gonna get
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't want to ruin my streak. I'm
No,
pretty
I understand,
I,
and I wouldn't have you lose that streak for
I'm
us,
I'm
obviously.
pretty happy with it. But especially when you guys got second, I was the only one that said that I can't remember what one when you guys got second. I was the only one that I was like,
Keywords.
I just don't have the feel. And then I was right, everyone was wrong. But when I get that feeling about a song,
Yeah.
I know it's going to be your song one of these days, and it's going to be great. But
Right. Standing
second,
by.
third, walk me through that, especially the second, because
Mm.
like I'm guessing you guys knew you would have been high, but second, like it would have been a rush of adrenaline. It would have been incredible. The highs of getting second though, and the
Mm.
lows of not getting number one. Can you walk me through
Mm.
that?
I didn't feel any lows when that happened. Like we were just so. I think when it felt like we were in contention for number one, it was like, you start getting anxious about anything else below that isn't good. But I think once it happened, we really like it was kind of instant, the sense of how amazing that was for us. And we were just so happy, like really, really, really happy. And we had all our friends over having a big pool party. And like we all went inside the house in the lounge room. We walked out and everyone was just like standing there underneath the porch, just giving us this like a big round of applause. And we walked out through everyone and like hugged and cried and jumped in the pool. It was really amazing. And then everyone was in the pool and we all sung. There was like 40, 50 people in the pool. And it was gross, and we all sung Brewster Seat. When it got played the second time, it was nice. It was a good moment. Yeah, very, very happy about that. And when we got number three, it was like 4 a.m. I was in Michigan and was like barely awake. And I was in a house with people that were like sleeping. So I had to like, we FaceTimed, the band FaceTimed. I was like, that's so sick. Congratulations. Just whispering and then went to sleep. That was it. I was like, cool. It was like a non-event just because of the timing of it.
That's fair enough. The time clocks, that's fine. I want to get on to another song. It's been a long day. I love the background on this. It's a song about, a breakup, pre and post breakup, which I find very interesting. Something that everyone goes through. I'd love to know the timeline on this song though, because it tugs on the heartstrings. And how many times did you have to come back to this one if it's pre and post? Like, did you write like a verse and then go, I want to leave it for a bit and then come back, or what's the story?
I mean, it was mostly written pre and during this sort of thing happening, very early on in COVID times, back in like June or May of 2020. And then it sort of had the meaning, had a place. And then after, this breakup and this period of time, we went back to start recording the record and pulling songs together. And it didn't feel the same way because it was from a different time and it was so, I guess, expressive and descriptive, I suppose is a better word, that I kind of went back through the lyrics and the themes and tweaked a few things to sort of, I guess, tell a more full story of this period of time. And yeah, and then it took ages to finish as a band. Like, there was so many little parts that went into it. And as that happened, it sort of morphed in terms of my head and what it meant and what the content was really of the song. And sort of it wasn't until really we'd stepped away from it that I realized that it was this sort of told this story of a period of time, I guess.
I love that. That's cool. It's good that you can kind of do that in your head though, especially processing it through a song as well. Now I saw you guys on the Gold Coast a couple months back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the most interesting gigs I've ever seen. Obviously, obviously that lineup was awesome. Had Moving Stills on before. Pacific Avenue are great, and obviously you guys too. You guys are pretty good too. And that Storm was fucking hectic.
Yeah, dude, that was a weird weekend to be touring in Queensland.
Literally, right? It's
just hectic weather.
It was insane. But the last time I was there at Miami Arcade, because I've moved around a little bit on the East Coast, was I saw you guys in 2019, end of 2019. And I know you guys played all around the world and that type of stuff. But if you remember in 2019, you guys played in the side room.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
it was like schooling, right? It was leavers.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh, yes, it would have been just at the end of November. That's correct. And you guys were in the side room, and it was great. It was a really good time. But when I was walking in, I was like, "Fuck, I haven't seen these guys in that long. They were there. Now they're playing on the main stage. There's hundreds of people there." Do you ever go to venues, after you haven't been there for a while, and think about, how far you guys have actually come since you were at that venue?
Yeah, definitely. And there's sort of music's funny in the sense that like there's lots of indicators of how things have changed for a band and an artist. And so yeah, when you're struck by those moments, it's definitely pretty amazing. It's sort of hard, especially because it's hard to like feel them and experience the successes and those little victories all the time, especially when you're really your head's in it and you're anxious about it and all that sort of stuff. So when you have those moments when you step into a room and it feels different, and you're in the bigger room this time, or you sold more tickets in that city that time, or whatever it is, it's like it definitely has an impact, and it's a nice moment to appreciate for sure.
Because I was just like, you think personally, you think, oh, how far have I come? This is what I've done. This is what I've done. And then as a band, like, that was just before, you guys really kicked off and everything happened in 2020 and then 2021 as well. So I was just like, far out. Imagine thinking like that as a band. I want to move on to the new one, which is out now. Go have a listen. It's great. You describe the origins of this song, I love it, as being at school with your pants off.
Yeah, well, the nightmare of that. I've not actually had that experience.
That's right, mate. Your secret's safe with me. Or as the forgetting lyrics on a song, but I prefer the first one, if I'm being completely honest.
I often actually forget lyrics to songs on stage. Thrills, it always happens, and I just have to laugh and then apologize to the audience for forgetting the words. I don't know why it happens. It's very annoying.
Now, obviously, like I suffer from anxiety as well, panic attacks, all that type of stuff, and it's it sucks. It's not great. But you guys have been really successful the last couple of years, and I feel like if you talk about these problems to someone, or just people might not understand because you guys are doing really well right now. Do you feel like writing is kind of the best way to express that, or is it the only way to express it?
I think there's lots of ways to express it, but I find for me, like writing about these things is a way to make them less horrible and not feel so like overwhelmed. And when you connect to people through these topics, which I feel very lucky to be able to do, it takes away that sense of being alone in it, and kind of like levels the playing field in the sense that people are still very guarded about these things, and generally people, what they put out to the world is usually a doctored version of things, and they make it look a lot better than it is. And I feel like I'm sort of taking the opposite approach by, in the most public way possible, saying, yeah, things kind of shit, and I'm not that well, I'm not that good. And so I think for me, that's like, it really, really gets it out, and it takes away any sort of sense of guardedness about that.
Love that, the sense of not being alone. It just gives you I don't know, that extra kind of shade of protection. It's good to kind of have that. Tour with the album as well. Super keen for this album. I mean, albums don't come around that often anymore, and it's very good that you guys are putting one out. But a tour with this one as well.
Yes.
You guys, I know you have a very busy December in Australia with all the festivals you're doing. You toured at the start of the year. You're touring in the middle of the year. Like,
It's a lot of touring.
do you guys want to take a break or no? Like,
Yeah, no,
it's so much touring, man. Like, how do you feel about the upcoming months?
I mean, there's definitely, nervousness about it. Especially Australian touring's nice in a sense. It's a little bit more relaxed and cozy these
Because
days.
there's not that many places to tour, mate. You've you've got the capital cities, and then you're
that's
done.
it.
Like,
Yeah. There's the US and UK touring coming up. I think that's gonna be really gnarly. It is just so much more work, like in the van overnight and sleeping on the bus or whatever. You just sort of like new country, new cities, all these things. So I mean, it's gonna be full on for sure. But we're lucky, like we've a very supportive group of people as a band, and our crew is amazing, and like I think is rewarding to tour and to play shows. So I think, whatever hardship we endure is offset by this like thing that we love doing at the same time. So it's kind of okay.
Obviously you got the album coming out, you've got the tour, you're super busy, and I know this is me being greedy, but can
What can I do?
we expect any more music from you guys after the album this year, or are you guys going to take a break from releasing music for a bit, focus on the touring, focus on the festivals, that type of stuff?
At this stage, I would say probably no more. Maybe some B-sides and a deluxe record. That's always fun. There's a lot of songs. There's a few songs that didn't make the cut on this record that I really love that need some work. So I think I'm going to go back later in the year at some point and fix them up and just have them there and sort of feel like we put out everything that well, not everything, but just like a sort of more holistic representation of what we did with this record, which I think would be nice. So maybe some B-sides, but that's up in the air, if we find time.
You don't have any, mate. You don't have any time. I've scratched my head around it. You might have 5 minutes in October, maybe, but that's about it.
5 minutes is all we need.
I love B-sides too, because it's like you might have a personal connection to a certain song because of the writing, or something might have happened, but we don't get to hear it because you can only put so many songs on, or that the attention span of someone now, it's getting less and less. So I love B-sides. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's funny because the record, like, it feels like it has 16 songs in it, but it really, for us, it feels like that because they're all part of it. But there's obviously only 12. So I think it'll be funny. Like, I'll imagine people are hearing that whole thing, but obviously they're not. So that'll be, I definitely will want to put them out so that there's that, holistic approach to it. I've used that word twice now. I won't use it again.
It's 3 strikes and you're out, mate. Now, I love this last question. It's very simple, but people find it very hard. And because you guys are so busy, you're touring, you're doing all that type of stuff, I want to know, it can be personal or it can be music-based, one thing you want to do in 2022 that would just make your year. You have until December 31, 11:59. But what's that one thing?
One thing? Okay, I think it would be, it's not necessarily the one thing, but I'm going to say this thing. I want to go to an American football game in LA when I'm back here in November. That's what I want to do.
That's cool.
I want to start spending more time understanding that world. I want to go and like have a beer hat and do that sort of stuff.
A beer hat. Do you have a team, or do you just want to go experience the vibe?
This is where it's a bit difficult because I was in LA when the Rams won the Super Bowl, and it was crazy and it was like all happening. And so I'm thinking like that's what I should go for. I'm planning on moving out here sometime next year. It's like that should be my team. And also it sort of feels like bandwagoning a little bit to go for the team that just won the Super Bowl. So I mean, it's probably probably Rams. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm just going to put it out there now. Now I have to go for them as public. So there you go.
And if you don't go to a game, I'm going to message. I'm going to put a story up, and I'm going to make sure that you're there, because I'm going to do that with all the bands. We've got, what have we had? We've had beer keg stands. We've had learning Beethoven, gardening, cooking, surfing. But an NFL game, that would, personally, I don't get the stop-start thing, but that's okay.
No, see, I didn't get it until I learned the game in February. Now I'm across it, and I now really enjoy it. So,
all right, that's cool.
All right, fuck, that's pressure on. Righto. Okay. I'll try and get my shit together.
Oh no, going to something that would be really cool. That sucks.
I won't enjoy it now because I feel like I'm obliged.
Mate, if you told me to go to a gig because I had to, I'd still enjoy it. So I think it'd be a good time. Caleb from Spacey Jane, thank you for coming on for the chat. I hope the album kills it, and I'm hoping that it comes with a number 1 next year for the top 100.
Well, you'll know in advance. So let me know. When you do.
I will know.
Okay.
I will know.
Okay.
Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Great to chat.
To keep up to date with all things breaking through, make sure to check out our socials.